Hey guys, this is your first video lesson in your social studies class that pertains to American government, econ, if we're in spring semester, American history, and geography. Just wanted to take a few minutes to set up our notebook and kind of go over what the expectations are and what I hope you guys are going to be doing during our remote learning and when it pertains to taking notes. Some things have changed from last year, so if you had me last year, please watch this all the way through. So our learning targets today, we're going to better understand setting up our interactive notebooks. And by the end of this lesson, you should pretty much have your notebook set up and be able to ask any questions if you still have them about note-taking in any of these classes. So first, just a little bit about me since I haven't quite met all of you yet. I am going to be your social studies teacher. My name is Mr. James. I've been here at PGA for 8 years. I teach, as I said, kind of American government, American history, geography. I'm also the sophomore advisor. I really enjoy it here and all of the positive community that we have at this smaller school. I'm really looking forward to our remote learning sessions this year and learning a little bit more about you. Some of my interests, I really enjoy being outside, going hiking, being with my family. I'm also a scuba instructor as well, and I can tell you guys a little bit more about my previous adventures in that life some other time. But for this class, I do want to make sure you guys have your tools ready. So whenever you're coming into class digitally, or in person, when we're able to do that, make sure that you have your planner, a pen or a pencil, a notebook for each subject. I highly recommend just one of those single subject notebooks for my class, and then headphones and a microphone so that we can communicate and not be distracted with other sounds going on when we're meeting online. So why notes? We're going fully remote. You might see some, online worksheets, and we'll definitely be doing some digital worksheets and things like that. But I really want you guys keeping a physical notebook. So when I'm talking about taking notes, I really mean writing down with a pen and paper on your notebook. And there's an article that I'm going to have you guys read here in just a second. And there's a quote from there, and it says, when a person is taking notes, the processing that occurs will improve learning and retention. And this is different than just copying some stuff out of a textbook, okay? I really want us to work on our practice of that learning and retention when we're taking our notes. So some reasons why you need a notebook. You really slow down your learning, okay? I don't want you guys just sitting in front of a computer and read until your eyeballs fall out. I want you guys, slowing down, engaging with the text that we're working on, or the video lesson, or the presentation that we have, and jotting down ideas and some of your ideas and some of your summaries in your notebook. So you summarize some of that important information, and overall, it helps with your memory. So I'm going to pause the video here and pop up a link that I want you guys, it's a 3-minute NPR article. I think you can either listen to it or read the article, either way, and then we'll come back and talk about it a little bit. So I think something really interesting from that article is just the difference of taking notes 100% on your computer or typing notes versus keeping that physical notebook with you and taking notes that way. There were some studies on the retention, and it seemed like people were able to remember some of the facts, but when it came time for the actual thinking and synthesizing and application of the learning, people who did the physical notes, the handwritten notes, excelled a lot more than the people who were typing notes on a computer. So that's kind of the reason why, okay, the reason why. Now, You know, it talked about in this article that there's kind of the two type of note taking. There's the generative and the non-generative. We really want to be living this world in the generative format. Okay, I don't want you guys copying things directly out of the textbook. Okay, I don't want you copying exact things. Now things like key phrases that you don't know, those are some important things to write down in your notebook. But just rewriting a textbook for me, look, this is American history. We got a new textbook. If you guys rewrote this entire thing for me, that's a lot bigger than a single subject notebook. So I don't want you rewriting the textbook. Okay, so we want to be more summarizing, paraphrasing, and doing some concept mapping. Now I am going to quickly go through 3 different note-taking methods that you guys can practice in my classes. And, you know, it's up to you which ones you want to use, and you could use a mix of them as well. But I'm going to go ahead and just quickly run through them, and then I'm going to pause and give you guys another article to kind of dive into a little more meat about each of them. So the first one you're going to see is the outline method. This is the one I used all through college in my social studies classes. It's still the one that I use when I'm taking notes at like meetings and things like that. So take a look at the outline method. Next one, you've probably had teachers try this one with you before, and it is a very successful method. Excuse me, it's called the Cornell method, where you divide your page up and you have kind of your main ideas, your notes, the meat of the notes that you're going to be doing, and then in the margins you put your keywords and topics, and then there's a space for a summary. And then finally we have the boxing method, where you basically any notes that are related to each other are grouped together in a box. And I could see this being other graphic organizers as well. So go ahead and pop open this article and then reply to some of your thoughts on the different note-taking methods. The last thing that I wanted to show you guys, so these note-taking methods are really good for you know, just kind of taking general notes out of the text. But I do want to show you guys as well that I'm going to be having some sort of note guide for you throughout the semester on any of the readings that we complete. So if you go into your Google Classroom, and I'm still kind of getting things set up, so things aren't really launched yet, might look a little different, but I'm just in American history right now. I'll usually have a link to what needs a little bit of directions and a link to the what the text that needs to be read. But then I'll also have some note guides. So let me pull up this one. These ones for American history relate pretty directly to the textbook. And I'm not going to print all of these out for you because I don't want to do that if you know, you choose not to use them and waste the paper and all that stuff. You could certainly print them out and put them into a 3-ring binder. You could also just copy this method. Okay, so like you don't, like if you were copying this method, you don't need to write down like all of these details, but you can see that they did like an outline method for taking the notes on this first section. So you could spend some time before you start taking notes and set up a full page of your notebook to model this, you know, skipping, I don't know, 3 or 4 lines on each page of your notes. You know, you do A and then skip a couple lines and B and C, and then fill out that information as you are going through the reading, and then answer the like review question at the end. I have something similar for all of my other classes. It just might look a little different. So some of them I create. So like in geography, it might more be a Google Doc. But the key is that I don't want you guys filling these out on these Google Docs. I want it in your physical notebook, right? Because that is the whole key is taking those physical notes for that learning and that retention that we talked about. Now, some changes from last year. If you were with me, I'm kind of scrapping the right side, left side format just because there's not the best way for me to like monitor that, and I think we were just getting too bogged down in those details. So you're free to kind of set up the notebook however you like. A good idea might be to have, you know, some of the key terms on one side of your notebook in summary, and then the right side is, you know, the actual notes content that you take. So I hope this has cleared some things up, and you got a notebook. If you have any questions, you can email me, or I'll leave a little chat box in this video lesson as well that you can fill out any questions that you have. But be prepared to start taking notes using some sort of method this week. You guys are awesome. Thank you.